Not fair. Sunday fun. And of course, Red and Gold GM every week until draft night. We're gonna get better and getting better. I know. Before I get into concert, though, let us go ahead and introduce to you our fantastic Hall of Fame coach, of which you know, as you've seen him on the chat time and time again. You've heard him in conversation. We've done one-on-one. Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
Coach, I like the ensemble, by the way. You know, you're looking
Yeah,
real GM-ish.
had to try to look the part.
You're doing a great job. Well, Coach,
Got the sleeves rolled up so we can do some work too.
there you go. Now, see, that's serious. When the man rolls his sleeves up, are you kidding me? Coach, without any further ado, then, let us allow you to improve this 49er roster right now.
Right. Okay. So off the get-go, I'm going to let people know I'm not a splash guy. Okay. I don't believe in overspending for guys. I think you get a guy that's high value, and you bring in people that are going to, that have shown consistency and can give us the skills and the needed execution from their position. That's my focus. Okay.
Coach,
Now,
one other thing. I'm sorry, let me
yeah,
interrupt you just for a second. I forgot to mention, if you have any questions for Coach, hashtag Q, write that question down, relay it to Coach right away. Right? Sorry, Coach, go ahead.
okay, you might have to help me see those because
Oh no, that's what I'm telling him. Put them here. So I'm
okay,
gonna relay them to you as soon as I see them.
good deal.
All right.
All right, so what I'm going to start out with is the guys that I believe we're going to hang on to uh, this off season or going into next season. Uh, the obvious ones are Robbie Gold and Mike Person for those reasons we all know. Um, there's a few others though. I believe Bradley Pinion will be back because I don't see an alternative for him right now, and we're not going to draft a kicker or a punter with only 6 draft picks. Okay, and right now that's where it stands. Jimmy Ward has already been talked about as coming back, so I'm in agreement with that for now. It is possible we could do some sort of deal with him later once he's signed or his options picked up. Raheem Mostart. Mostart is our running back and special teams extraordinaire. Um, I've seen some people talk about getting rid of him, but
Oh,
he is the number one uh, special teams tackler on the team, and he has been for a few years.
yeah.
I think it's a big mistake to let him go, and it gives us running back depth. So we keep him.
Very
Um,
good.
Anton Exum showed that when he was pressed for duty, that he could play. Um, I still don't believe he's a starter yet, but he can definitely help us with depth. And that goes the same with Elijah Lee, linebacker. Elijah Lee again showed well when he was pressed to play due to injuries, which we all know was a huge storyline last year.
Oh,
Mark Ziocha, again, another guy that gives us depth at the Sam position, but he also plays special teams and he does a very good job of that. Matter of fact, he was an alternate, I believe, in the Pro Bowl as a special team standout. Um, so the guy's a good tackler and he takes care of that inside lane when they're all running down the field. So on punt and kickoff coverage, I don't know what's going to happen to the kickoff, but Ziocha can still play on punt coverage. And then the last guy would be the defensive back, Greg Maben. Greg, he's a prototypical size guy. He gives us depth again. Depth is what I'm looking at here with these guys. I don't I'm not going to be delusional and say these guys are starters, but they do give us depth, and we all know how important that is when you get injuries. So those would be my keepers currently, who were slated to be free agents, and various types of free agents. Some of them are restricted. So at this time, are there any questions about those?
Yeah, I see. There's Jux373 says we signed a kicker in Jonathan Brown. Uh, so trading gold or not? Jux373. Are you serious? Coach, okay, go ahead. Go ahead.
Wait, say again the last part of that.
He says we signed a kicker, Jonathan Brown. So trade Gould or not?
Okay.
Or gold, I'm
I
sorry.
would not. Yeah, I would not trade Gold right now because he's our kicker. The kid was brought in here. Brown was brought in here probably to push him, and in the event that we have him franchise tagged and he does not accept the contract, then he could be traded.
Oh.
But right now, Brown is unproven. He's kicked in the preseason. He hasn't kicked in an NFL regular season game. I don't think you make that decision too quickly. I think you have to keep Gold in camp as long as you can and take the full term it takes to get him signed because he is our kicker.
Absolutely. The thought of Gold leaving scares me to death. And also, Quest for Six says, "Why resign Ward? Can't stay on the field or Exum when there's a lot better safety talent in free agency and Zilcha we can replace with Barr." A lot of assumptions made in that question, but go ahead.
Well, again, you're talking about spending money, a lot more money than we have right now at those positions. So, Ward has already, and this is going by the indications that the 49ers front office has given, and that is that they like the guy. They have plans for him. So I'm going to echo that. If he can stay healthy, he'll help us. If not, they'll cut him loose. So that's how we're going to treat him. Again, Ziocha is a special teams player. You don't get rid of special teams guys and sign veterans to take their place. Guys like Barr, you mentioned. That's not a option when it comes to smart football salary cap of what you're doing. We're going to overpay for a lot of veteran free agents out there. So we have to be precise in how we spend our money. Even though we have a lot to spend, it's going to be expensive. So we need to target specific areas, and those are not areas that we would target with those individuals as far as swapping them out. There could be some room for them on our roster in other areas as starters, but that's a different conversation.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also, you should probably, if you're going to get rid of those guys, let's not get rid of them just yet. Bart is not promised, and all the safeties out there. You got to make these deals first. You go into a season having gotten rid of everybody, assuming you're going to make those buys. You got to be careful on that. So yeah. Okay, Coach. Let's get to the next question. Let's go ahead and get those cuts in.
Okay.
Yeah, get those cuts in.
Yeah, just let Chris Schultz know there's a reason why I didn't sign Paradis. I'll get to it.
I got Chris Schultz in his caps all over this,
I know, that's
all over the
right.
chat, right?
I
don't see
like
him
him
yet.
too, but there's a reason why. I'll tell you why. Okay. So let's talk about cuts then, right?
Yes.
Okay. My cuts originally were JP Flynn, who was still listed on the roster, but apparently he's already gone. Stephen Dunbar, the wide receiver, going into his second year now, really didn't show anything last year. didn't get on the roster. I think he might have been activated for one game,
I
but
remember that. I think it was the last, next to the last or last game. I remember him coming in. I think one of our another wide receiver got hurt or something, right?
yeah, well,
I
all of
remember
them were
that.
hurt.
Yeah, I think we
At
lost
one
one
point,
more at the end of the season, and then there was Dunbar activated. I said, "All right, we're going to see Dunbar." We
yeah,
didn't see Dunbar. Yeah.
uh, yeah, we didn't see him. He didn't show anything on special teams or any other unit on the team, so to me, his value is expendable. So had he been able to come in and make a few plays and do some things, I know his big thing is his size, but he may have had trouble getting separation. And from what I saw when he in some of the preseason action, the camp stuff, he didn't get the separation that he needed.
Mm. And Shannon hates
So
that. Yeah.
yeah, that's his big thing. I mean,
Well,
so he's a guy that we could easily replace. So I'm going to go ahead and let him go. Maybe he can latch on somewhere else and do better. Who knows? Um, Dakota Watson and Malcolm Smith were two guys that are on the bubble. So it appears we may renegotiate. Right now, we do need Smith as that other linebacker. He played both the Sam and the Will. And if anything, it could give us some depth, but we definitely have to renegotiate his contract. So he's making too much money. Um, and then Dakota Watson, I just think another year older. He had a great game against the Raiders last year, but beyond that, he's done absolutely nothing. So,
true.
I like the guy. I like all the guys on our roster, but
Yeah.
you gotta stick with what's you know. Shanahan said he wants guys that are ballers,
Yeah.
playmakers, and
Yeah.
we need those guys in one way or the other. So right now, Dakota's getting up there in age, starting to get the injury problems. Happened a couple times last year
Mm.
and the year before as well. So I think
Mm-hmm.
it's time to say goodbye to him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That would cover my major cuts and the re-signings.
All right. All right.
Any questions on any of that?
Yeah, let's go to San Francisco was the last guy we. So yeah, he says,
Okay.
Coach, how big of an impact will Wes Welker and Miles Austin be for that entire offensive unit, or at
Oh,
least
great question.
the wide receivers?
Yeah, very good question. I think what that's going to do for us is solidify our get off from the line of scrimmage. Both of those guys are really good at that, and they can teach it. And the other thing is the separation when they're route running, and they'll help both the outside receivers and the slots. I think the slots will show the most improvement. You'll see that probably by the third week of preseason. And then it'll carry right over into the season. I think guys, Taylor seems to be back now all the way from his back injury. That did it limit him some last year, and he had to take a lot of plays off because of it, even though he was still active. So I think it's back surgery and things like that. When you're playing a physical game, that's a tough thing to overcome. It takes time. So I think he's getting there now, and we'll find out, of course, for sure in preseason if he's all the way back healthy. But
Yes, because
yeah,
we know
those
what
two
Trent
coaches.
Taylor looks like when he's being Trent Taylor. Last year,
Yeah,
that was not Trent Taylor. I agree. Not from the first year we seen.
yeah, yeah. And I think these coaches are going to help us with the technical details that these guys need to pick up now. They're young, so they need to learn some of the technical aspects of what they do in the route running and maximizing their separation. Welker was an expert at that. You know how good he was when he played,
Yeah.
and he wasn't particularly fast, in long speed. He was just quick,
Yeah.
and our slots all have that quickness. So
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. Any
And
other?
Welker's suicide.
Oh, go ahead.
Whatever it takes, you get that ball, make that catch. I've suffered like 30 concussions, and I'm still standing there talking today. Can you imagine?
Yeah. Remember, he was a special teamer too, right?
Oh, that's right.
And a lot of our slots play special teams, so that's going to help in that area as well.
Man, Welk was a tough dude. Daniel Andre wants to know, uh, should we sign a free agent tackle to replace Joe Staley?
I'm going to cover that in our free agency section, but
No, that's right. We haven't done it. You know what?
yeah.
Coach, you know what? Let's just go ahead and start with that free agency stuff right now. Wait, hold on. Let
Okay.
me go ahead and go over what you just went, get it fresh in everybody's mind. The players that will
Okay.
be signed will be Robbie Gould, Bradley Pinion, Elijah Lee, Mike Person, Raheem Mostert, Anton Exum Jr., and Mark Zocha. And the cut list includes Malcolm Smith. I know he's still with us for now, but that doesn't have to stay that way if the 49ers pick up another linebacker. So, yes, I like Coach's cut list. Dakota Watson can say goodbye. Stephen Dunbar Jr. and Peter T. Oh, Coach, you cut my boy Peter T. I really wish. We've not seen, like Dunbar, we've not seen enough Peter T. except for that one wipeout hit he put on the. Who was that guy? Was that one of the Seahawks? Was one of the nicest stop running right now hits I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But anyway, we got to see what's going to happen next with this team. We may have to give up a lot of people that we don't want to get rid of. All right, Coach, we are ready for the next step.
All right. Let's talk about free agency. Now, I'm not a big cap calculator. Okay, I work generally in general terms, and I let the front office handle the particulars. Okay, so I'm looking to spend about $40 million in free agency, just with new guys. The other 20 some odd million that'll be left, 27 million, will be spent on keeping our own guys and signing draft picks. Okay, and it works out to about that amount. Um, the very first person that I'm going to go after, and I'm going to go after him hard because he brings a lot to the table for our team, and that is Mr. Earl Thomas, a free safety. He's going to be paid probably in the neighborhood of $15 to $16 million per year, and he'll probably have a 3-year contract. Um, there will be some clauses in there to give him incentives to do a little more, but basically he'll be satisfied with that yearly salary, so we don't have to steep it in a lot of uh, incentives. But there will be some performance expectations placed on him, and of course he's going to have to pass the physical, be healthy, and we want him to come in and contribute right away. So he is going to help us from a leadership standpoint, which I think is vital in that secondary, and it showed up last year when guys were miscommunicating on the field.
Oh,
And you remember all the finger pointing and everything.
yeah.
That's communication. Guys were not in the right spots for whatever reason, whether it was the safety or corner, whose ever fault it was.
Hmm.
This guy to make sure that not only those guys are in the position they're supposed to be in, but he watches the linebackers and everybody else too. He truly is a quarterback on the defensive side of the ball.
Mm-hmm.
You are not going to get that from another safety in the NFL right now. It's just not going to be there. The next closest guy is the Chicago Bears free safety, Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, he's not available, so
Mm-hmm.
he would not be somebody we could talk to right now anyway. Second choice, Clinton Dix would be a second choice, but I'm not sure he is, other than his range. I'm not sure he's shown that he's a lot more
Cerebral.
of an upgrade, I would say, over the guys we got. So he's got range, but I have questions about him because Green Bay traded him. He was supposed to be their safety.
Uh-huh.
Redskins get him, and what do? They release him
Immediately.
I,
That's pretty
when that
scary, isn't it?
happened. yeah, that threw a red flag up for me, and I don't know what it is. If he didn't just like the locker room, or if he had an injury that wasn't disclosed, or whatever.
Wouldn't wash his
But I didn't
socks.
hear the Redskins. Yeah, I didn't.
Mm.
I didn't like the Redskins weren't complaining about his physical health, so it had to be something else. But that's a red flag. So that's the reason why I didn't put him on top. And the other guys, I mean, you got Landon Collins out there. You got a few other guys. Most of them guys are all strong safeties, they're safeties, or they're cover two guys. Not going to help us in our scheme right now. So Earl Thomas will be my answer there for the 2 to 3 years. I think he's going to be here and finish out his career.
That's real scary,
Um,
Coach. You know, in the way you broke that down, Earl is like the only guy we can actually pick up that's going to make a difference. We can pick up, like you mentioned, Clinton Dix and some other guys. They're going to come in and stumble around. They're going to come out and join the pointing. I can already see it now. That's really worrisome. Well, you know what though? Maybe we got some guys that have learned it by now. I hate to think that Earl is the last. That's it. We don't get Earl. The secondary will look similar to his last year. Oh my God. Okay, it's not
well,
going to happen. We're getting
that's
Earl.
yeah, we're getting Earl because here's the other thing you have to keep in mind is this is probably a prove it year for Robert Saleh.
Yeah.
Once he gets some guys in there and he runs that scheme the way it's intended, if he doesn't get the results that he should be getting, there, Woods is sitting there, and if he comes in, we're going to switch.
3-4.
We'll be running a 3-4 probably, and cover two more cover two and man.
Oh
So we'll have
man.
to change up some things.
Yeah.
Sherman can still play in that scheme. Thomas would still be able to play the free safety. That's not an issue.
Mm.
Where we would need to have the personnel changes is at the other
Front
corner
line.
position and our front line. So, but even still with the front line, we have personnel that can play in a 3-4.
Yeah.
We just need to get a couple linebackers to do it. So, but that contingency is built into this. So that's it on Earl Thomas. So around 16 million with his incentives and so forth, 16 and a half.
Mm. All right.
Um, the second guy I'm going to go after, and there's a reason for this too. He rated on PFF higher than Dante Fowler and his teammate Kerrigan, and his name is Preston Smith. He's a edge. Originally signed as an outside linebacker, but he's around 275 now, 270. So he is a hand in the dirt edge. He can also stand up, but he's mostly you'll watch his film from last year, and last year particularly, he played with his hand in the dirt the vast majority of the time. He can also play the wide nine in the defense on passing downs. So that is a rush position. He'll be spying the run on the way to the quarterback from that position. So that gives us somebody with experience, and he has a unrelenting motor, and it's been talked about around the league. Even when he's mentioned briefly, high motor guy, very, he's got great stamina. He plays a lot of snaps. He played close to 900 snaps last year, and still got 4 sacks and was third in the NFL, or fourth in the NFL in pressure. So that's pretty good for my liking. And he's young. He's a young guy that can stay with us for 8-10 years, have a great career. And if you pair the right guys with him, you're going to have a very successful defensive line.
Yeah. Where's
He can
Preston, Coach? Where's Preston coming from?
Washington Redskins.
Ah, who's
Yeah.
their main guy in the middle? Who's he playing next to?
D tackle, he's playing with the two rookies, Jerron Reed and the guy from Alabama. What's his name?
Good perception, Coach. You put him next to D-Buck and things could change. Okay, all right.
Well, yeah, that's another thing. I mean, that I see anybody we put in there next to Buckner is going to have success, but he's got to be able to beat single one-on-ones, and this guy can
Yeah,
do it.
yeah. Yeah.
So I like his strength. His upper body strength is great. He's got good get off. He's one of the highest get off guys out there right now, and that's why he was graded high by PFF.
Mm. Right.
Um, but he's not graded up there with the elite guys, and there's a reason for that. That is because he doesn't get the sack numbers that they do, but he does. He is on par with getting the pressures, and that's what we need because pressures lead to turnovers,
Mm-hmm.
and there is real good evidence that indicates that. Even PFF admits it. So
Oh yeah.
the numbers aren't always where it's at.
Yeah. Sacks are good, but pressures are important. And this is why we have
Pressures are
people on our
important.
team that don't get any love and a lot of hatred because they don't have the sack numbers. You know, it is okay. But anyway, go ahead, Coach.
The next guy on my hit list, and Preston will probably get around 10 million, 10 to 12, um, which is good for us. It's an affordable amount. It's not crazy out there. The top guys are going to make 16, 15 to 17 million.
I
He'll
heard
be
about
just
that.
under that. He's a second tier guy, but he's more than sufficient for us, trust me. So the next guy, I'm looking at inside linebacker. Now, I like CJ Mosley a lot. Okay. He is the top linebacker in the NFL right now. However, he's going to garner a huge paycheck. And if we pay him as well as Earl, we're not going to have a whole lot left over for other guys. I'm going to tell you right now. It's going to amount to, between the two of them, probably 40 million, almost 35 million between the two of
Oh,
them, 30 million. Yeah.
there goes half that
So,
gap. Oh,
yeah,
uh,
that's going to kill us. So, what I did is I looked at, okay, again, I rely on PFF and some of the other prognosticating sites to check on the analysis on players and stuff. And the guy that comes up at number two is probably the best coverage linebacker in the NFL right now. And that's Jordan Hicks from the Eagles. Jordan Hicks is a free agent. He has not had the healthiest time. He had some major injuries a couple years back, but last year he showed that he was past that. He made plays, he made tackles, and his coverage was right on par with where it had been. So I like him next to Warner because the two can go off each other. They have equal speed, and it's a half field coverage. He won't have to cover the entire field like he did at middle linebacker with the Eagles. Now, they moved him around a lot, and we have the flexibility to do that. But that's what I like about him, is flexibility, and that's the reason why I want to pick Jordan, and he's going to be cheap. I mean, we could bring him in on a 1-year prove-it deal with the option to sign him long term if he, number one, stays healthy and plays up to his potential. So if he can't do that, 1 year is no risk. We get
right.
him 1 year, you know, $4.5, $5 million, whatever that number is going to be. It's going to be somewhere close to that, maybe 7 at the most. He gives us that year, and he doesn't prove it. We don't really lose anything.
Yeah. In fact,
And
he
I
has to
have
pay some of that money back.
it could happen, yeah. On a 1 year deal, though, it probably, depending on the incentives and how it's structured. But
Right.
again, a contingency plan will be built in to cover him. Maybe it's Malcolm Smith sticking around. Maybe it's
Oh,
a rookie. So we have a couple of options there. I'm going to bring some of that out as well. So Jordan Hicks is my inside linebacker strictly for those reasons.
all right.
Then I'm going to go to any. Okay.
Now go ahead.
Okay. Then I'm going to go to corner. Okay. I want to address the cornerback position because we need somebody to come in, and I mean a veteran who can push a Kello and basically let him, prove it or leave, or be benched. I think he's going to prove it, but this guy will give us an insurance policy if something happens with Sherman or with Kello. We got a guy that can step in and play right now. He can play this scheme. He's prototypical, and he can play man-to-man very well. He plays against the Houston Texans with his current team twice a year, and he's the only corner that has been able to keep DeAndre Hopkins under control, and at times has even shut him down in games.
What?
So,
Go.
yes,
Man.
I saw
Sign
the
him up
video.
right now. If you can cover Hopkins, you can cover anything. Anybody.
Yeah,
Ho.
I mean, he's not going to do it every time. Nobody is. I mean, Hopkins is a great receiver.
I know. I got to go watch those games.
That,
You got me curious. I got to go watch that game now.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
God.
not only that, but he's actually the number one run defending corner in the NFL right now.
Ooh.
So his name is Pierre Desir. Plays with the Colts, and he's a free agent.
God, that Colts defense.
Yeah,
Oh, man.
they have not locked him up, and they're letting him look at free agency. So
Wow.
he's going to garner somewhere between probably 4 and 6 million. I think probably closer to 4, because he doesn't have the gaudy numbers that other corners have, but he certainly has the work ethic. He's got the skills, and Eric Crocker likes him too, by the way. Former NFL. He's been on a couple shows around the Bay Area. So Pierre would be my corner choice to bring in, a veteran corner. He's young. He's 26, 27, I think.
He still can learn. Let him hang out with
But
Richard
he gets
Sherman.
it. Yeah. We got Woods in there to help him. We got, Sherman on the other side. I don't think he'll have any trouble picking up our scheme at all. He can play off coverage. He's done it before with the Colts, so
how tall
I'm
is
not
this
worried
here,
about
Coach?
that. He's 6'2".
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
You know what? They're already looking at him.
6'2". He goes up.
Yeah, he's already being looked at. Yeah. All right. Go ahead.
I think he fits their paradigm for the scheme they want to run.
Yeah.
But the good thing is he's got speed too. So.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
Yeah. He's an interesting prospect.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting to the need areas, but not splash players. Okay. There's a reason why I did not go after a wide receiver. We're talking about AB and OBJ. And the AB thing is, of course, you'd love to have the guy, but look what just happened. The Raiders got him. Now, what happened, right? They gave up the 2 picks this year's draft, okay? And they had to restructure his deal, and he's making $20 million a year.
20?
Top paid receiver in the league.
Is that right?
20 million.
Right? 3-year deal. 3-year deal, 50 million, 30 million guaranteed.
Just under 20, like 18 something.
Yeah.
With his incentives, he's going to far succeed that. Let me go over it. So, but that was
Coach.
part of the deal.
With Derek Carr as your quarterback, that's not Roethlisberger. I can't wait to see how this develops. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're right. I foresee you're going to see number 84 going up and down the sidelines complaining or yelling at the quarterback for not getting up the ball.
Talk about trade me come January.
Yeah, well, that probably won't happen. But he could hold out. You never know, right?
But yeah, he says.
But anyway.
Yeah.
The second guy, and again, nobody talked about restructuring his deal when he was traded. All of a sudden, it comes up after the Bills dropped out of the conversation. So you had to do that. Now, would we have had the money if we wanted to pick up a couple of key free agents on defense? Are we going to have the money to do that? Number one. Number two, are we going to get the AB of old, or are we going to get the AB on the selfish side, the guy that wants the ball all the time? In Shanahan's offense, that guy, the way he's running it right now, That guy's not going to get as many touches as he wants. Put it that way. He'll get some. I mean, he'll get a lot, but he's not going to get what he wants. So there could be some issues there, but that's not a major thing. The major thing is the money, and that's why I shied away from it. OBJ is a twofold story, and as it turned out, AB was as well. We don't have the capital, draft capital, to do a deal. We would have to have somebody that we like on our roster to sweeten the deal to make an OBJ trade. OBJ is young. He's younger. He's probably faster than AB. He could probably do more
Always
in our
was,
system.
though.
Yeah. He could do more in our system. I mean, there's a lot of potential there. So I would say that the talks there are still ongoing with OBJ. So I'm not going to commit to him right now. But I'm going to get a guy in here that's a very good red zone receiver that nobody's talking about. He had 1 year, he had 5 touchdowns. He only played half a season in the red zone. So when the quarterback threw the ball to him, he caught it and it produced results. Okay. And his name is Chris Conley, wide receiver from the Kansas City Chiefs. He's their number 3 guy, actually number 2 guy. Now he would be number 2 now, behind, not counting the tight end. And
Tyreek Hill is got to be ranked. Hey, Tyreek Hill, is he number 1 or 2 on that team? Hill's got to be number 1 because I understand he's about to get paid incredible. His salary's not going to be like $1 million. It's just going to be 1 or 2. Ooh, you'll be able to read it, Coach, because I heard Hill's about to get paid.
Yeah. And guys like Conley, that's why they're letting him walk because, he, number 1, he didn't play. He's the number 3 guy. He didn't play as much. Watkins is the number 2 guy, right?
Oh, yeah, right.
So,
Sammy, I'm hurt again, $19 million a year. What? Well, that's a waste.
Like Conley got his playing time with that. But Conley, though, I love is his hands. He runs extremely good routes, and he gets separation. So all those criteria that Shanahan wants, and he's a red zone producer. When he gets down in the red zone, he will help us win those one-on-one matchups or against zone defense. He catches the ball well, even in zone coverage. He reads it well. So I like him. He's younger, 25, 26, I think. 4 years. He's coming off his rookie contract. But he's not going to be expensive for $4 million, $4.5 million, maybe tops. So he's a good pickup. I'd say to put in the mix. He kind of takes the place of Dunbar in my mind. He is 6'3". He goes about 210 pounds, 215. Yeah. So he's a good size receiver. Again, is somebody that will help us in that department as well. He'll get on the field more than Dunbar did. Trust me.
Dunbar we never saw Dunbar. If he gets on at all, he'll be.
It was, I looked at his college tape, Dunbar last year, and he wasn't getting separation even then. I mean, in college ball. So
he's a muscle guy. He's a muscle guy, and muscle guys don't work in the NFL. They got just as many muscle guys playing defense as they do. That's not going to work. Yeah, a linebacker would beat him up. He's not that fast, so he's got. If you don't have speed, you better have moves.
One or the other. I mean, you're going to have speed. Then having the height is necessarily as we see with Goodwin and guys like them and Brown too, or even OBJ. They don't have the height. But they got the speed and they got good hands. So Goodwin is still improving in that area. But I think with his head straight, he's going to make a lot better showing as well. But, we all know that. I'll give you an example of one thing that I had a talk with one of the NFL guys on the other podcast. We were talking about our wide receiver group. Okay. A lot of guys are fixated with getting that big Julio Jones type guy. Okay. Um, Now, Matt um Ryan's game is a little different than Jimmy G's or Mullins. Mullins going to be our backup now, pretty much. But Matt Ryan's game is the deep ball, and he throws a high arcing deep ball. Jimmy does not. Jimmy is better in an intermediate range. He can throw the deep ball, but it's early in his drop. He'll drop 3 or 4 steps and then he'll let it go. Um, he's he's accurate, but he showed even on the move he can throw the 35-yard pass or 40-yard pass like he did to Pettis in that Minnesota game on the money while he's moving to his right or to his left through it. So those kind of things Matt Ryan doesn't give you. Okay. But Matt Ryan can stand in there if he has time and throw that deep ball and hit those tall receivers, and that's his deal.
Mm.
So evaluating our offensive as a group, when Jimmy G came over, our offense was rated, I think it was almost dead last. Not quite. It was like 25.
But we were working on that.
20 to 20. Yeah. When he came over here, when he started playing, by the time he was done playing that first year he was with us, our offensive receivers as a group were number 1 in the NFL.
Ha!
Did you know that?
I knew it. That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
It ain't about the receivers all the time. It's the quarterback.
All right. It is. It is. Now, the guys we got can ball, if they stay healthy. And now we picked up another guy, Pettis. So I fully believe, and we add Chris Conley to the mix. We get a red zone guy we can mix in there. And another guy that I'm going to talk about in our draft as well. But that was an interesting thing, though. I didn't know that. I didn't know our receivers had made that much of an improvement.
Coach,
with Jimmy G.
Everybody was like all of a sudden Pro Bowlers. Nobody was missing. Yeah. Guys were catching the ball in stride, driving it. I mean, when you see Trent Taylor and Goodwin in the same game, eclipsing 100 yards, and Kendrick Bourne backing that up with 30 or 40 more, somebody is doing some throwing out there, because they weren't doing that before, and all of a sudden they start doing that. There you go.
Yep. Yeah, that's exactly what I see. So that's why I make the decisions I'm making here.
I love it.
Is I'm taking those things into account and to factor it. So, okay, so that's Conley.
QB.
What's that?
That's the difference between a franchise QB and everybody else.
Who, by the way, actually has a cheaper contract now as we go forward.
Well, yeah, I know, right? Yeah. God.
So he'll end up with another big payday on his final year, and then they'll re-sign him. But,
wow. Man.
So that's Conley, and by then, Jimmy G, in my opinion, just might have gotten us a Super Bowl championship. So I am really, if we get the defense, if we get the guys we need on defense,
that's the bottom line.
Yeah, we lock it down, get a top 5 defense going, and man, our offense is going to be unbelievable. Teams can't score on us. Say again?
Oh, no, you got another guy in your free agent signing, so
yeah, I got one more here.
Pick it up a little bit.
Now, this is a question was asked earlier about getting Staley's replacement tackle, right? I think it's still a little early for that. If we have to, I mean, we have a guy named Coleman sitting there that can back up the left tackle and right tackle positions. He did play left tackle some in Cleveland when Joe, what's his name, retired.
I know. I can't think of his last name.
Yeah. See, I already forgot him too. He's 2 years out of retired, and I forgot him already. But anyway,
that guy's an all-pro too. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, one of the areas in depth that we do need is guard. So I want to pick up a guy named John Miller. He's a free agent. He'll come cheap, maybe $2.5 million. And he has got a pretty consistent game, both run and pass. So he's not top of the line guy, but he's mid range. He'll be good depth, and if we need him to start a game, he can do that. He has enough experience, and he's good enough to win playing offensive line. So he'll be cheap, just a good player to pick up in free agency and give us somebody to help out with the guard position. I do think of our current guys right now, I believe that Joshua Garnett is going to win the right guard starting job. And again, it all depends on his health, of course. But I think
it's always been the case with him.
Yeah.
Can he please?
Now,
Josh.
the other thing is that some people have showed in some of their free agency things, and this goes to Chris's point about Paradis bringing in a center. Right now, Richburg is our starting center. Now, I understand. I just read today that there may be some issues on him getting back in time for the with the surgeries that he had. So that could change things. Change things, and they'll look at that day to day. So right now it's day to day. But Mike Person can play center, and I actually think he played center for an entire season with Atlanta, and he did a really good job. I think that's his better position, to be honest with you, from what I've seen. But again, he's not in the same league as Richburg when Richburg's on and healthy, and he's not in the same league as Paradis, obviously. So Paradis would definitely be an upgrade, but he's going to be an expensive one. So that you've got to factor that in as well. So just to bring that up. So that's why I didn't address those for now. But free agency period will go right up to the start of the season, just about. So anything can happen
John Lynch.
there.
True.
Yeah, and it's and I'm open to that. It's whatever happens. So that takes care of our free agency.
Let me go over those. Let me go over those real quick, Coach. Coach, start out. Free safety Earl Thomas, 3 years, $54 million, $18 million a year. And coming off the edge, it'll be Preston Smith, 4 years, $40 million, and it's 10 a year. An inside linebacker, Jordan Hicks, 4 years, $18 million, $4.5 million a year. And cornerback, Pierre, I could deal with Hopkins. Yes, sir. I got to go back and see them games, man, because anybody who could deal with Hopkins, I want to know what they do in that, man. 3 years, $8.25 million, and $2.75 million a year. And also, long, tall Chris Conley. Nice thing I like about him, I don't want guys out there going 50-50. I feel like every time a guy goes 50-50, chances of us losing are 50-50. Get some separation. Get loose. That's what I'm talking about. Chris will be hitting $13.5 million with all that speed, $4.5 million a year. On offensive guard is John Miller, 5 years, $12.5 million, and $2.5 million a year. That's what I'm talking about. Like that, Coach. Yeah. Got some questions for you, Coach.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, and do go to the app, and there's a poll there waiting for you. Vote for Coach Yes if you want him to be the next man to bring that ring to San Francisco, or has a coach disappointed? Yeah, that's the option. I wouldn't go for that one. Russo wants to know. It says thoughts on possibly bringing in Everson Griffin. Whoa. Anybody thought about Everson in his comedy? Everson kills me.
So I'm loosening the tie now and turning my hat around because we're about to do some work. The work is going to be the draft. But to answer his question about Everson Griffin, I'd be open to the idea if we got him reasonably, but it is a trade scenario again, right?
Yeah.
He's not a free agent. That means we have to have some capital.
Yeah.
Minnesota's not going to take just future picks. The guy is a sack leader on that team. So,
machine.
I mean, anytime you're talking about capital, right now at this particular point in time, we are just too short on capital to do a lot of. It's tough to do a blockbuster deal when you don't have it.
Especially with Justin
And
Houston running around out there like, I'm a free man. Anybody got something they want to say to me? So
yeah, now he could be a good short term pickup
yeah.
for us as well. I mean, I would be open to that, but again, depends on what he feels he's worth at this point after the last couple of years of being injured all the time and not getting the kind of production.
He
The
still came
production
up with
just hasn't
10
been there.
sacks. Justin Houston,
Yeah.
some of these guys, man.
He's a guy that didn't he do 20 or 19 sacks 3 years ago?
I I don't know
I
what
thought it
his
was him.
I don't know what his peak season was, but I just know he's averaging 10 a year. That's an average. So yeah, he may have did something like that somewhere.
Yeah. So I mean, he's got potential there for like a year or two, maybe 2-year deal or 3-year deal, maybe the most. But if it's reasonable, I would say yeah. But
Yeah.
right
Oh,
now, if we get in a bidding war with somebody, I mean, it's a lose-lose for us because
Oh, by the way,
we just
Cynthia,
don't
thank
have
you.
the cap.
Cynthia, thank you so much. And she says she's very excited about the free agency. So let's go Niners. Coach,
Yeah.
also, let's go to the next question because we're gonna step it up here a little bit. Omar John says the 49ers go 6-10. God, I can't believe people actually thinking that way. If they go 6-10, can you see a new coaching staff and a new GM next year? Of course. Get rid of them. Coach, what are you thinking?
Well, I don't see us going 6-10.
Number
I
one.
have not. Yeah, I haven't seen a team go through the kind of injuries we've gone through in the last 3 years.
We should have
I mean,
been
to
1
to
and
go through it
15
3 years
last year
in
with
a
the
row.
team we had. Agreed.
Yeah, we were a better team last year. When I went through the season, I looked at, and this is something that GMs do. They evaluate, the coaches evaluate, and when you factor in that even with the injuries, we were still capable
Fighting.
of winning five, definitely five, possibly 6 games last year more than we did. So that would have made us a
Coach,
10-6.
I do blame Kyle for that, though. He could have sat CJ down weeks before he did.
Yeah.
What? God, Nick would have beat the Cardinals. I just know it. Okay. Calm. Breathe. Okay.
The way our line was playing during that span in there with the Cardinals, with Chandler Jones going crazy on us, and
I know Chandler was, but
I think
still.
Mullins would have had a tough going.
But Nick would have got rid of the ball faster than CJ. He would have been back there contemplating.
Yeah,
Missed my first read. Where's my second? Come on, CJ. Either run out of the pocket, step forward, do something. Come on, man. Oh,
yeah.
okay. I'm sorry, Coach. Go ahead.
No, anyway, correct myself. Houston had 2 13-sack seasons, or no, 9.5 and 10, and then he had the 22-sack year in 2014.
What?
So
What?
it was 3 years ago. 22 sacks.
Justin Houston had 22 sacks in 1 year?
Yeah, 2014. He played all 16 games. That's one of the few seasons he played all the games.
22
And
sacks. Damn.
yeah,
I guess he's slowing down. 10 sacks a year is like weak for him. All right.
yeah. No, he had 9. He had 9 sacks last year.
Ooh.
Yeah, he's been averaging about 7 a year, 6.5, 7 since then.
But coach,
So
do you get
he
rid
got a
of
contract.
do you get rid of Shanahan and Lynch next year
No,
if you go
I mean,
6 and
this
10?
is the thing. Yeah, getting back on point. I don't do that because they were given long-term contracts for a reason.
Yep.
This is a rebuild. People have to
Yeah.
understand the team is going through a rebuild right now. It's the same scenario that when Bill Walsh took over back in the late 70s. He had a long-term deal to fix the organization, not just the roster. So he went about doing that, and it took him till his 3rd year to get things to line up. And then they even got better from there going forward. So I think Shanahan will do the same thing with John Lynch and Adam Peters. I think those guys They're very good at what they do. And I expect them to have a good breakout year this year. Um, Again, we're fixing some problems directly with free agency. We're fixing our defense, most of it there, and then we're going to do some through the draft as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we're also going to, I think, stay healthier this year, and
Please.
they'll contribute to us winning more games. So 10
Please.
games, I mean, 6 wins. No, I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to win 10 at the least and 13 at the most.
Oh.
13, yeah, probably around 13.
All right,
So
Coach.
between that numbers there.
And you know what, Panama Queen, we actually kind of addressed that. We talked about the Superman Houston. Panama Queen wants to know, would you pick up Justin? Well, you know what? You didn't say whether or not you'd pick up Justin, though. Would you pick up Justin Houston?
Yeah, like I did say, if he is reasonable,
Oh, yeah.
I would definitely bring him in for, like a short term. Hey, let's train the young guy and go forward from there.
Oh.
And he could help us also, like a 2 or 3 year deal. Let's say something goes wrong, Salah's defense sucks, and he gets fired, and we go with Woods, and we do a 3-4. Well, Justin Houston's a perfect fit for that.
And,
So-
and remember, that's not Salah's defense. That's Bill. How is that Seifert? Who designed that before Pete Carroll ran? Pete takes it over back to Seattle. It's Pete Carroll's defense. No, it's not, Pete. You stole that while you were on the staff with the 49ers, and you altered it just a little bit. You changed the names. Leo used to be something else, and this used to be something else. So don't, but go ahead.
Yeah, the Leo was the elephant in Seaforth's defense.
Yeah.
Charles Haley, Keena Turner played it. Fred Dean played it. They also played some wide nine on that as well. Haley especially, but they didn't do the wide nine very much. I mean, maybe a half dozen times a game.
Well, yeah,
just to throw
I was going to say, you better not do that too often. You do it on certain plays. Coach, Terry O'Dell wants to know, what about Trey Boston at free safety from the Cards? I kind of like him, too. Kind of gave us a lot of trouble.
I heard something negative about Boston when I was looking at safeties. And me and Eric had said some things about it, too. And it had to do with just inconsistency, not having the consistency that he needed to have. And then he had a bit of an attitude problem with some of his teammates and coaches. So there's a little bit of a red flag there. I wouldn't rule it out completely, but I'd want to look into that a little bit more first before I decide to bring him in.
Well, you know that I
could certainly bring him in for an interview. Talk to him.
But you know what? I think Boston, is he making $3 million? I think he's making
right now. He might be at that mark now.
Yeah.
But he'll command more than that, of course, getting on the market, right?
I mean, that's what I'm thinking. He's probably got an attitude because he feels like he's getting underpaid. But that's neither,
That could be, yeah.
Let's move on so we don't get too caught up in this. JD wants to know thoughts on Salah implementing the wide nine that you just mentioned. Amplify.
Yeah, for Salah, it's not going to be a big deal because his D-line coaches will handle that. He doesn't really have to bother.
Pretty much, yeah.
He's not scheming. They do it as a staff, so it will be something that he'll delegate it. That guy will cover it, and it'll be a situational type adjustment. And that will happen with personnel most likely. So no big deal. I mean, it's going to be, one guy two guys that run that wide nine especially well. Preston Smith will be one. We could pick up, it's open. I mean, you never know. Cameron Wake or Robert Quinn both played in the front in Miami, and Ansah in Detroit. So although Ansah is not an option simply because he's going to demand top dollar and he can't stay healthy.
And play 3 weeks of football and get $17 million a year. God, if I'm the owner, I'm down there choking him.
That's the last thing we want to do.
I'm not paying you that kind of money. You came out here and you played 3 weeks. Chad, let him go. Oh, wait. Coach, you know what? Let's go ahead and jump into the draft.
Okay.
The clock's ticking out on us here. Because I'm dying to see who your first round pick is, Coach, please.
Okay, well, I do not buy into the Cardinals drafting Murray hype. Okay, I'm an old school guy. All
Yep.
right. Now, my first choice
Yes.
would be if Bosa's there,
Yeah.
you take him.
Yeah.
But I don't believe he's going to be there. So my first pick in the draft at number 2, and this is I think would be the best fit for us both now and going forward,
Mm.
and that would be Josh Allen, the
Mm.
outside lineman, outside linebacker, defensive end from
Mm.
Kentucky.
Mm.
He gives us versatility there. Um, if we do end up, if things don't work out and Salah does get demoted or kicked out of here, um, he would work out perfect as 3-4 outside linebacker. So
Ooh, didn't
that
understand.
would not, yeah. So that gives us a personnel fit for the future if we need it as well. So it just makes sense.
Mm. All
He
right.
gives us good pressure. I think the top tackle, the Alabama tackle, talked about all the edge rushers he faced. He faced 4 of the 8 top tier guys, 5 of them. And out of all of them, Josh Allen, he said, was the most difficult guy to block because of
Coach, who was this?
he was the guy Williams, the tackle from Alabama.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
He said Allen made him
He
crazy.
came.
Yeah.
Allen drove him crazy. Yeah, he
Yeah.
power rushed him real well. He also got around him and underneath him. So he had more moves than he's given credit for. Put it that way.
Mm. See, that's what I want
I've
to
seen
know. If he's got
I've seen some
moves,
practice from.
yeah. But all right, all right.
Yeah, I got a guy that I know who sometimes if I ask him, he'll give me cut ups from practice and stuff like that.
Mm.
So I can get a cut up or two, and he'll show me some of the things that they're teaching these guys in college.
All
And
right.
Josh Allen's getting some really good coaching too, so
Good.
he'd
All right.
definitely be a great pickup for us in a scheme fit.
Yeah, we got good coaches. I mean,
And
when you
he'll
think
do,
Kasura and Kiffin,
yeah,
there's a
yeah.
lot of instruction there. So yeah, we'll be fine.
And you got Holland and D'Amico Ryans too, who are coaching the linebackers,
Mm.
and
Right.
you know they got the most out of Ziocha than I think anybody could have when he was
Yeah.
playing uh,
True.
at the position. But Marsh, they bounce it around. Sometimes Marsh played it too, but those guys aren't really talented enough for that.
Mm.
So Josh Allen, if you see him play that Sam backer position, you're going to be like, whoa, this guy can move, he
Yeah.
can beat people up, and he can make plays. That's what we need, just like Kyle
Abs-
said. I want
absolutely.
playmakers.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a playmaker. Now, the second guy I'm going to pick here, round 2, the 4th pick in round 2. I don't have the total number, what it is. I think it's like 60 something. But I'm going to go there, and I'm going to actually pick a wide receiver with the second pick
All right.
because the other defensive player I want to get, the way things are shaking out, it looks like he's going to be available late second, early third round. I can move up if I need to get him, or I can stay pat because I pick early in the third round. I take the guy on defense I want. So I'm going to take wide receiver, somebody Shanahan really loves, Debo Samuel. There's a reason for that. Again, it's another player that's versatile. He returns punts and kicks. I think he took the very first time he touched the ball in college football, he took it for a touchdown and a kickoff return. That was a good sign to me. But
Coach,
what I
Coach, you know
saw,
what?
yeah, go ahead.
Coach Debo, you picked up Debo in the third round. You're on.
Oh, was it
Did
third?
you miss the
No,
second
no, no,
round?
second.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Second round, you went
yeah.
linebacker.
Second round, I went linebacker. Are you sure?
Yeah, you got. Well, according to what you gave me, you want to switch that now?
Okay.
Although I don't think
Yeah, yeah,
Mac
I can switch
Wilson.
it.
Well, go
Well,
ahead.
I'll put it this way. Well, I would have traded. The scenario would have been for the linebacker to trade up to get him, but
I
that's okay.
see. Okay.
What I'll do is we'll stay with the linebacker here, and that's going to be because Debo will be available in the third round,
Ooh.
I
Oh.
believe.
Okay.
Uh,
Maybe.
and the linebackers, Yeah, I think so, and I'll tell you why in a second.
All right.
But the linebacker I like is Mac Wilson out of Alabama. He's rated third right now, similar to Trey Lamar. Almost fourth. They're like tied for third. Uh, Mac gives us a player to replace Reuben Foster. Okay, he doesn't have the off-field deals and issues and everything. They're non-existent. Never had a problem.
And he wasn't
Um,
screaming and yelling at anybody at the combine.
no, got, did not. And he didn't run the
That's
40, but he will at his pro day. So we'll get a better look at him then. That could
yeah.
change things on his availability. But second round is safe for him at number 4. So he gave us even more splash hits than Foster had on special teams and defense. Turnovers, the guy gets picks. Um, Foster didn't have as many, and he didn't have as many um, impact plays that Mac Wilson has been ringing up over his last 2 years there at Alabama. Um, so I like Wilson as a guy to put next to Warner. I don't know if he'll start right away, but he certainly has the coaching to be able to do that. He'll have the knowledge, being under Saban. But if we're keeping Malcolm Smith around another year, that's a guy that could tutor him and teach him a few things, because Smith may not be physically able to do them anymore. Mac Wilson will have no problem doing them.
I mean, I mean
So
his Achilles won't heal, Coach. Malcolm Smith, I
yeah,
don't know what kind of body it won't heal. I mean, it just comes out there and it just
too heavy.
continues to hurt for week after week, month after month. Man,
I think Smith is listed at like 230 or something like that.
dude is
But Mike, he looked.
a beast when he's healthy. Actually, I mean, I got Malcolm's a good player when he can stop hurting, but he won't stop
Yeah,
hurting. I mean, he went the whole season hurting.
he looking at him though on the field, standing next to Warner and some of the other guys,
I
he looks
know.
250 to
I
me.
know the arms.
And
He's got Navarro Bowman arms too. I don't even
yeah,
notice that. Popeye.
even his
God,
lower body, like you notice his midsection is not tight. I mean,
yeah,
he's I don't know. He looks a little heavy for me, my liking.
yeah,
But if he lost a few pounds, I think he'd move a little better.
and maybe
Maybe
stay
he'll do
less
better.
injured too. Anyway,
Yeah. Anyway, so moving to the third round,
Yeah,
pick
okay,
number
okay,
3.
okay. Go ahead.
So we got Mac Wilson there at number 2, second round. Third round. Now the reason why I chose this receiver was because look at the combine, right? A lot of the guys getting all the media attention and the raves and everything were either the super fast guys or the big guys, right? But the
Yep.
Debo Samuel type guys who did who were more versatile and did more,
Yeah, Kyle
they
style.
didn't get a lot of attention.
Yeah,
So this is why I think he'll still be around when we pick in the third round.
yeah,
And he is Shanahan's guy.
yeah.
There's another choice that we could go with as well later, but and that guy would be Hakeem Butler. Totally different type of receiver. He's a bigger guy, but he breaks tackles. He can make plays.
He's got some
But Debo's a
speed
good guy
too,
because yeah,
as I
he,
remember.
one of the things that Shanahan wants to implement in his offense is the wide receiver screens. Right?
Mm-hmm.
He wants to do more of that, like he did with Taylor Gabriel in Atlanta. So far, our was it Richie James and
Mm-hmm.
Trent Taylor just hasn't been healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Taylor's not really built like a running back, so he don't break tackles really. And Reed can break tackles, but he doesn't always make the best decisions when he's trying to set up his blocks. Debo can do that. I mean, he's done it in college for 3 years. He can do it. Um, so he gives us that extra versatility. We don't have to use guys like, if our nickel ends up being DJ Reed, then we don't have to use him in special teams. We could use Debo.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Pettis. We don't have to use him in special teams. So anyway, gives us some versatility. I like his athleticism and definitely can get separation. He's got good speed. He's got great hands. real quickly in the North South Senior Bowl. The whole week of practice, man, he was catching the ball, um, but in the game, the quarterbacks couldn't hit. They couldn't hit him. They just didn't have the. I don't know if it was timing. Looked a little bit of both, maybe timing and accuracy,
Yeah.
but
And
he didn't
no
get around.
familiarity. That game every year is a little bit
Right.
like that. Except every now and then there's always that one or two. Hunter Renfro was the guy who stood out, who can catch any nasty pass that you throw. He was interesting in that
Yeah. Well,
Reese's game.
Jimmy's not going to be throwing nasty balls. He's going to be
Yeah, no.
throwing
I know.
accurate ones. So
Yeah,
Debo could have a real huge career with us.
sure.
Uh, Even Hakeem, if we ended up getting him. Um, so we go to the fourth round now. Now the fourth round, I have us picking a corner. He is you haven't heard of him, but he's from a small school in central Michigan, and he's a 6'2" corner, and his name is Sean Bunting. The great thing about him, though, is he's 6'2" with blazing speed, so he can
I like
move.
speed.
Um, he is is one of those gems that you find in a draft. And fourth round is a good spot for him. He's slated anywhere from the third to the fifth, so I doubt he'll go in the third with all the wide receivers that people are going to be taking.
Mm.
But he fits well in a fourth round, and he'll be the number 2 pick of the round. So I like that.
All
Okay,
right.
and then moving on to round 6, because we don't have a round 5 pick. This is what I talked about, not having capital in this draft. We still can pick up some diamonds in the rough, so to speak. There's 2 guys in particular I like here in the 6th round. The first guy is, I think I have him listed this way as well. Is it the linebacker?
Yeah, linebacker
You got him there?
safety.
Yeah, Gary Johnson.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
He plays. Yeah, he plays with Texas. Um, he plays kind of a hybrid linebacker position with them. He blitzes a lot. He roams. He covers underneath, and he's one of the few guys that consistently tackled Mr. Murray at Oklahoma. So when if Murray does come to the NFL, we'll have the remedy for tackling his butt
Coach, wait.
when he
Let me
takes
let me let me get you. Let me get clear on this. You're talking
yeah,
about Kyler Murray,
Kyler Murray. Yeah,
and you're telling me Gary Johnson can catch him?
he can in a straight foot race.
Yeah.
I don't know because I never saw him trailing him.
But that's even
Every time I
better
saw him,
because Kyler, his
every time I saw
quickness
him
is
tackle.
scary. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He got him. He was able to square him up and tackle him.
Oh,
When he
okay. I'm
played.
impressed already.
So, yeah, the
That
best
means
part to
Russell
do with that.
Wilson would be a piece of cake for him because Kyler's
Yeah,
quicker
exactly.
than Wilson.
Yep. Yeah, those
All
guys
right.
are unreal. But this guy is just as quick, and he's playing a hybrid kind of linebacker safety position. So um,
Have him come up and
I like
blitz
him
all the
there.
time, man. On a blitz play
Yeah, if
only.
nothing
Play
else,
the
he's going to give
Cardinals.
us a great special teams player. He'll make somebody's job expendable, I'm sure, on our roster. And so I like him. I like him there as a kind of a good all around guy that you pick up. Similar to how we found Fred Warner. We got Fred in the last year in the third or
Third
fourth round.
round, right?
Third round,
Best
right?
pickup in years.
Yeah.
Honestly, it
He
may be the best pickup in a long time because your first round picks versus your third round pick, that's not something you compare. Because if I look at McGlinchey and I look at Warner, for the third round pick, I think the Warner may be better as far as that value. You know, because I mean Warner, that's a Pro Bowler in the years to come if he continues playing like he is. Oh,
yeah,
well, then so is
he had
McGlinchey.
some missed tackles last year, but
He's
they'll
still a
fix that.
rookie, though. We got to remember he is a
Yeah.
rookie. He did, there's some things he's got to learn, but still,
Hmm.
raw materials there.
Oh yeah. So I like this kid. like I said, he'll help us on special teams right away. He's a baller. Um, and he might just step in. You'll see him play a lot in preseason. They'll look at him a lot. And he'll, again, he can play that box position as either a safety or a linebacker. So we would solve basically kill two birds with one stone having him in the game.
I like that.
Yeah, just another, baller, playmaker
Mm.
we get on our defense. And
Yeah. And that other 6th round pick, Coach.
last guy in the 6th round, I got a offensive guard who can also play tackle. His name is Alex Bars from Notre Dame. Kind of a hidden gem again. He was the right tackle or right guard when Nelson was at left guard and McGlinchey at left tackle. This guy was playing right guard and he was blowing people up, not as demonstratively, of course, as Nelson was doing. Nelson was getting the press. This guy was doing his job, though, just steady and good, throughout the time. So he's a year behind. He played tackle at first, and then they moved him to guard. So he could do both. I even believe he took some snaps at center as well, but I didn't hear a whole lot about it, so I didn't go with that. But Alex Bars gives us another gem, diamond in the rough kind of guy that can come in, can learn the NFL game, learn the terminology, and play almost from the get-go. He has that aptitude and skills. So he's not a top lineman simply because he was a little light for tackle, and they rated him mostly as a tackle. But when he moved inside the guard, he was balling at guard. Run blocking was outstanding. His pass blocking was decent, but he does have to work on the pass blocking, and that comes with time. So I have no problem picking him up and getting him into coach's hands and letting him educate him, train him.
And especially in the 6th round. Yeah, you're not hurting yourself picking up an offensive lineman at that point.
No.
Yeah.
And he'll be cheap, on the contract and all that too. So just another, I would say cost-friendly addition to the team with a good upside. Upside, and this is what I look for when I do draft. So I look for the upside, but I don't want to overpay for it unless I have a specific need, like the free safety or edge rusher.
Yeah,
Then we'd go on that.
those are big contracts. And Dolan, I'm talking about in college. Everybody knows Kyle. I wasn't talking about the pros. I was talking about Kyle. Murray was moving as quick as he was in college. Okay, nobody say anything about him being a pro.
Yeah.
Hey, Coach. Here's I forgot about. Let's go over with the picks one more time. 1st round pick. It's Josh Allen because Moses is not going to be available.
I don't believe it.
Second round pick is going to be Mac Wilson. You know what? It's funny because I'm going to do this later, toward the end. I picked Mac Wilson. I might as well wait till it. I picked Mac Wilson too because I think he'll still be there. I really do. 3rd pick will be Deebo Samuel, South Carolina. Yeah. That's Kyle's kind of guy too. And he worked with him already. 4th-round pick, Sean Bunny, a cornerback, Central Michigan. 6th-round pick, linebacker, safety, Gary Johnson, Dolomite, can catch and stop Kyler Murray. I love that thought of that. 6th-round pick is going to be our offensive guard, Alex Bars, Notre Dame. And Coach, anytime you pick up an offensive line from Notre Dame, you're sniffing in the right direction as far as I'm concerned. Notre Dame, I mean, if we could make them our farm club for offensive linemen, that's what I'd do. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Woo!
That's my neck of the woods back there. That's where I was born. So.
Oh, God. It's build them out there. I mean, every year.
Can you imagine how happy I was when I moved out to the San Francisco Bay Area in high school and we drafted Joe Montana a year later?
Oh, yeah. Already you know about Notre Dame. Let me get some questions here for you. Question 6 wants to know you get 2 linebackers in free agency and then draft 3. The two you paid for probably lose their jobs to the undrafted in first two rounds. So you're overpaying for depth, guys. Coach.
Okay, hold on. He says I'm getting two linebackers in free
Yeah.
agency.
Did you get two linebackers in free
Getting
agency?
one.
You
No,
got
I'm getting
one.
one. Preston Brown, he came into the league as an outside linebacker, but he's a defensive end now. At
Okay.
270, 270 pounds, you're not an outside linebacker anymore. You're
Yeah.
a DN.
Yeah.
So that's where that is. But I could see his point there.
Yeah.
The other one is in the draft, Mac Wilson, and then the hybrid Gary Johnson. Mac Wilson is the true linebacker. Gary Johnson is probably our box safety, to be honest,
Okay.
long
Uh,
term.
all right.
So
And Dolomite wants to know. I saw another mock free. I see another mock free agency that has us signing Chris Hogan. What are your thoughts on him in Shanahan's system?
Um, well, Hogan and Garoppolo have a good rapport, having worked together in New England. But Hogan's lost a step. He doesn't
How
get, if
old
you
is
notice,
Hogan?
Hogan, he's not too old. I mean, I think he's 30, 32, maybe. I don't know.
He
He's
really
not real
screwed up in
old.
the Super Bowl, though, unlike I've ever seen
He's
him do.
29.
Okay.
Yeah, he made one or two plays, but he really wasn't, he didn't get the
He
separation he used to get.
and he missed a couple of plays that were right in his. I mean, he was right in his hands. I said, Chris, you got to make that play. This is the Super Bowl. But yeah,
And I worry about that from a standpoint of his concentration. As the
yeah,
game goes on, you're not involved. You don't keep your level of concentration up. That kind of thing happens. You start dropping balls when you get them. So that would worry me. But Shanahan can scheme anybody open. I don't care who he can
I
scheme
do know,
Garrett to
right?
hell.
That's
He
why
can
I
get
say,
Hogan.
man, Shanahan's the most dangerous offensive weapon. You could get the best wide receivers in the league. They are not the most dangerous guy on that offensive side of the field. It's
Yeah,
Shanahan. And Sheik the
yeah.
Freak wants to know, are we in or out of the OBJ trade talks? And he says, great job.
I think. Thanks. I think we're still entertaining it. I don't think it's off the table completely yet. I just think that when you're talking capital, man, it's hard to make those trade deals because they want something this year and then they want something next year. And next year wouldn't be a problem. This year is the problem. And this year I find it hard to come up with enough capital other than adding a tier one player that they may want for him in the trade. So, and then we got to deal with the contract. So I am kind of leaning towards it being off the table or not feasible, maybe is the word to use. But you know, if things materialize and the deal gets sweeter, we'll revisit it.
Yeah, because people, it seems they're going to try to trade OBJ every year between now and God knows when. They were trying to trade him last year. I couldn't. I was in disbelief for that. And they got and they got Saquon Barkley. I said, look at the potential for triplets you got now, New York. They're still trying to trade him. It's amazing. Also, Coach, the direction you're leaning, I think some of us don't realize we haven't filled enough holes yet to be going for those huge payday. 'Cause how many teams are winning Super Bowl? When you look down the list and see how many championship teams have a premier wide receiver, it's kind of comical. I think the Kansas City
Yeah,
Chiefs are the only one.
yeah. I think yeah. Steven brought that up. Remember, you guys were talking about that on the podcast the other day, and that was one of the things I agreed with him on. Was the only team that ever. Well, let's see. The Oakland Raiders traded for Jerry Rice signed him. Really, they didn't trade him, but they signed him. And
Yeah.
at the end of his career, they did go to the Super Bowl, but they lost. Um,
Jerry's still
so
pissed off about that.
yeah, it's few and far
He's not
between.
used to that.
You get one guy that makes that big of a difference to turn your team around. It usually begins with defense,
Yeah.
not offense. So if you're going to make that splash, you should do it in defense. Because if you have a good enough scheme, which we do on offense,
Yeah.
On defense, you need a couple splash guys. You need guys that are going to, cause havoc out there. And, C.J. Mosley, Jordan Hicks when he's healthy, Preston Smith, Earl Thomas, of course. So those guys give you the superstar that I would say Thomas is the number one guy.
Oh,
He's going to make the defense better. Top 10 easily, I think, as soon as he steps on the field. And then top 5 if we get that edge rusher, if we get the edge rushers taken care of. So
that's how I watch this. I'm telling you, Coach, I still say it. They're shopping Rosen even as we speak. We're getting Bosa. Let's get to the next question, though. NFC West Livingston says, what are your thoughts on wide receiver Terrell Williams, 6'4", 205 Chargers? Understand he runs a 4.4. But, Coach, what do you think?
Well, I got a guy that was a lot cheaper, and he runs a 4.3.
Uh-oh. Case dismissed.
Conley's a 4.3. However, the reason why I did look at Tyrell, the bids are going to be high for him. He's going to be a top tier free agency, and we're talking multi-million again. Yeah. So I just don't like the money going out right there at that position. I'd rather get a guy that's got, he's consistent, more economical, but yet still has a playmaking ability that we're looking for from the position. So Conley gives us that.
There you go. Also, Coach, Jux373 says, what about tackle Darrell Williams and receiver? Oh, we already mentioned about Chris Hogan, but what about Darrell Williams?
Darrell Williams, where's he coming of?
Hey, isn't Darrell Williams a kid we had last year on the practice squad? Jux, is that who you're talking about? Must be. That's the only Darrell Williams I know of that I'd be mentioning as far as a tackle. Remember we had him last year on the practice squad. I think they moved him in for a few minutes because we were getting really thin. Do you remember him? Yeah.
That's right. He's with the Panthers, right?
Is he with the Panthers now? Because somebody did pick him up, right? I think you're right. I think it was the Panthers.
Yeah. So he played with the Panthers
last
year.
He's with the Panthers now. What is this stuff like?
Yeah. So I think, again, the reason why we let him go was, first off, I don't know all the ins and outs of what was going on in the locker room with the guy.
Uh-oh. What?
But I do know that he wanted more money, and he was willing to hold out for that.
Wait, Darrell Williams wanted more money?
Yeah. Well, down the road, yeah.
Darrell was on the practice squad.
Huh?
Wasn't Darrell on the practice? Yeah. How do you ask for more money and you're on the practice squad?
Back in 2015. I believe I'm talking about the same guy. He's maybe it's another Darrell Williams. Hang on, let me double check.
It must be. Anyway.
Yeah, because he goes back to 2015. Oh no, this isn't the right guy then. I'm sorry. This guy was drafted by the Panthers, so he's not our guy.
Okay.
The one you're thinking about, I think he was. I don't know. I can't remember. I know he was a young guy, right?
Yeah, and I think he was Williams Jr. You know, Coach. Let's go to the next question. Yeah. This is anyway.
I'm not sure about that. The only thing I can say is the guy from Carolina. He'll be too expensive, I think.
Is he pretty good? Is he a free agent?
Yeah. He's a free agent. Yeah.
That's got to be who he's talking about then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because what he's talking about, he was second team All Pro in 2017. It's definitely a different Darrell Williams. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, he played
first team
games.
All Big 12 in 2014. Yeah. So.
But last year he played one game.
Yeah. Injuries. Yeah. We got to move on here, Coach. Question 6 wants to know, why not go after Trey Flowers or real edge rusher in free agency? Smith only had 4 sacks last year.
Yeah, Trey Flowers only had 4 sacks too.
Yeah.
Okay, and he's going to be probably twice the price.
He looks a lot better than that. But go ahead.
Yeah, you look at the film on Preston Smith and then tell me that he doesn't look as good or better than Trey Flowers. Because I looked at both of them. Flowers is going to be a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
That's why Bill Belichick's letting him go, because he
Yeah.
doesn't want to pay him. He knows
Belichick.
he's going to command tolerance.
Oh, yeah. As soon as you start talking
So,
double digits, Belichick says,
because
"Well,
with
no,
those
I'm not
guys,
going to pay that."
yeah, yeah,
but but
he's
it works
crazy
for
that way.
him, Coach.
Crazy like a fox.
But that team's already established. They got their core down, and the 49ers will be able to do that every now, probably 2 or 3 years from now. Belichick's got that team so set up, he
Yeah,
could just
I mean
plug in
Trey.
guys. Yeah, Coach.
The great thing about Trey Flowers is he's versatile. He can rush
Yeah,
from the inside or outside.
yeah,
But I would say him and Preston are pretty close in pressures.
yeah.
But the numbers aren't there for both of them, obviously. But again, I don't base it on the numbers.
Mm,
That's why I said, hey, they both got 4 sacks. I mean, that means nothing
yeah.
to me.
So you get the
It's
one. You get the
Trey
one.
Flowers played on a yeah. Trey Flowers played on
Less
a
deep.
much better defense
Yeah,
as well.
yeah.
So, but if he's reasonable, I
Belichick.
would definitely consider him.
Oh God.
Yeah.
NFC West. That was. It's possible 49ers trade back with Giants. Get their 6th pick, second rounder, and OBJ. They really like Haskins. NFC West. That was thanks for that contribution, Coach. B, you know what? No need to address that. Let's get to this next question here. And she also wants to know thoughts on Jamie Collins or KJ Wright. Excellent question, Sheik. Coach.
Jamie Collins, from what I've seen with him, his play slipped a little bit.
Hmm.
Um, I don't I don't foresee it would be a problem if he came in just as an edge guy, um, similar to Chandler, but he does play inside linebacker as well. Uh, but we could move him to the outside. He'd probably have a greater impact for a defense. So
Hmm.
he would be interesting, depending on what he's looking for in money. Also, the other guy was
KJ
who's the
Wright.
other guy?
KJ.
KJ Wright. Yeah,
Yeah.
nah. KJ, I'm past him because his injury history now is getting too
It's up
many.
there, huh? Yeah.
He's on the field less and less now.
Yeah.
So, uh, and he's kind of let himself go a little bit. He's gained like 20 pounds since he was drafted, 15 pounds. I think that
Too,
slows a guy
too,
down.
and
And
too much success equals fat.
well, maybe yeah. He
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Wagner's the real baller in that linebacking core,
Oh,
and Wagner,
God,
he
yes.
makes everybody look good.
It's
So
just, whew. But Richard Sherman says he can't run. You're slow. But what's that say about y'all then? I love that argument. Jay
yeah,
Niff
well,
says,
Wright's
would you,
slower than he is, I
yeah, well,
think.
yeah. Jay Niff says, would you trade this year's second rounder for D Ford?
This year's second rounder for D Ford.
Mm,
Man, I don't think I would. Again, I'm a safe. Give what you show me. You know, is it consistent? Is it there? D Ford hasn't reached a level of consistency yet. He had one great year last year.
it's a different.
He should have been. He should have been. They should have done the same thing with him that Dallas did with Lawrence. Make him prove it for 2 years in a row. See if he's that
Mm.
good.
You know, Coach. Here's the thing,
But
because
he's
Vincent Johnson,
still a good baller though. He's
yeah,
a good player.
Vincent Johnson has a question to piggyback on that too. D Ford could actually strive. Do you think D Ford could actually strive though in a 4-3 defense? Would he be a pure linebacker or an edge? Because word is that the Chiefs are wanting to let D Ford go because of the fact that they're switching to the 3-4 or 4-3. He's better
4-3.
probably at the 3-4. What do you think?
Yeah, he could play edge. He could play edge at a 4-3, but it wouldn't be as effective as he is at the outside linebacker position in the
Hmm.
3-4. That's what he's tailor made for. That's what he came out of college playing.
Hmm.
So this is why this was another reason why I thought Bosa wasn't a good fit for the Cardinals because they played at 3-4.
Hmm.
He's not a stand up guy. So, but yeah, I think you got the reverse scenario here. Ford is the stand up guy, but you know, you put him in a 4-3 and he starts playing off the ball, playing coverage. He's kind of heavy for that, 260, 265. He's a little bit heavy for that. So I don't know. I mean, it would be tough if we moved. If we moved, just like I said about Justin Houston, if we moved to a 3-4, if Sal was sent packing and we went to Woods, then yeah, he'd be a perfect fit there
All right.
in our
Uh,
3-4 defense.
all right. And Mr. Leaks wants to know. I just got a source telling me, uh, well, are trying hard to get Odell, and the Giants are really interested. If we did trade for Odell, what would you give up, players or picks?
Man, I know who they're going to want.
They're going to take Dante, and they're going to take Dante immediately. They're going to say, give us Dante and give us Goodwin. That's what I would do, because now I've pretty
They'll
much
ask for
got.
one of them. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, because now I've got the combination that can make Dante's going to work better as long as every team does better when you got a speed guy. That's why Kansas City was so vicious last year. Tyreek Hill. You don't call Tyreek a number one, but you call him the number one facilitator to that offense. This is what Goodwin does.
Yeah,
That's why Shanahan wants that kind of facilitator. But what do you think?
yeah, they're going to want. They're going to want. I think they're going to want a young player for him. Pettis would probably be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
But if they went with speed, then Goodwin would be the guy, and they would ask for a defensive player or
Ooh,
an
that's
extra draft pick.
three
So,
players? Oh, my God. I mean, if they were going to
just
go
one of the
players,
other
right?
wide
Yeah.
receivers. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean Buckner. They'd ask about Buckner. I'm sure.
Ooh. They would have the
Um,
nerve to ask for Buckner, too?
oh yeah,
Oh, hang up the phone. I
they
mean,
would
I
put his
like
name on the
Odell, but
table.
come on now. I need to
Yeah.
have a team. I want to add him so I can win, not so I have to go out and start hunting for new guys.
Right.
Man,
Yeah, we don't want to lose defensive guys right now. That's not the
no.
goal or objective. We got to stick with our goals. I think our goals are, again, we have to make improvement this year, and you don't do it by making trades and getting rid of good players. Can't do it.
But if you're going to go draft
So
picks, what are you going to do? You're not going to be able to get away with anything less than a two. Uh,
yeah, well, this year it would be a 2 probably. Yeah, and I don't see us doing that. Next
mm,
year, I think anything's open. You could give them the 1 and the 2 next year, but they wouldn't
yeah.
get a player for them either.
Well,
I don't think you can't be crazy and then also have to pay his salary every year.
oh, and that's why I laugh at the Raiders. You lost 3-5, $50 million, 30 of it's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Go Raiders! Chris Qualls says after Reuben Foster, why do you think we will draft another Bama linebacker in two? Because there may be some
Well,
kind of disease in Bama. What's going on with that? What do you think, Coach?
because he's going to be there for one
Yeah,
thing.
yeah,
Secondly, he's a one of the top linebackers in the country, and he keeps his nose clean. I mean, he's a
yeah.
good character guy. So that's exactly what Lynch loves.
Mm.
So I think with Ruben, they got a chance to take him and kind of rushed it because he said, "Hey, he's still there. Let's grab him." So they moved up and they got him. But in this case, I'm not sure they're going to have to do that. If they get him early enough
Mm.
in the second round. So he is the number 3 rated linebacker behind Bush and Devin White.
Yep.
Bush would fit us too,
Yeah.
I would just say, but he's a little smaller linebacker. But Devin White is not, to me, he's not a fit. From a coverage standpoint, I know he makes plays. He's basically a zone linebacker, though. You don't see him in a lot of man-to-man coverage. I didn't when I was looking at his film.
Hmm.
So that's why I would. Devin would be a first-round guy no matter what.
Boy, you know what though? If I had Devin, I tell you what, Coach, you can situate those guys because you already know that one of the best could end up being one of the best coverage guys in the league at some point. You already know Fred could cover. Now,
Yeah.
I go ahead and let Mr. White know, Mr. White, when we do the wide nine, you're going to be my seek and destroy guy. In fact, anytime you see that quarterback hand that ball to that running back, you push your buttons and do what you do.
Oh, he will. He'll
You
go
know,
like a missile.
yeah. So yeah,
But that's part of his problem, though. Sometimes he'll
over
sell out for
pursuit.
that run,
Yeah,
and he'll go right. He'll miss the guy. He'll do it. It'll
he
be an
is.
arm tackle.
He is insane though, and he moves it quick. Although some of those things, I figure they can be corrected. Coaches can look at, hey, Devin,
Yeah.
there goes your running back, and he juked you the same way, and I saw it was coming. I was going to tell you about that, and I knew you'd fall right into it. Coaches can embarrass you into getting better, and
Yeah.
I figure our
Do
guys
that
will probably be able to.
film, right?
Well, Coach, as I say, Coach, I bet you did that to your players.
In the film room, yeah,
Oh
pretty
God,
good.
Coach.
I like to get the group together and then go over the film with them. Say,
Yeah.
okay, this is what you did wrong here. This is what you did wrong here. This is
Oh,
what you
those
did right here.
in front of
You know,
everybody. I know it's
well, the group, not the whole
yeah.
team, but
Yeah.
the back group or whoever.
Go vote for
For
the
me, it was
coach in the
quarterback group.
app. Because Coach, we're gonna stop now. Good job, Coach. I loved it. Except for the first
Right.
round pick,
Had a good
and
time.
I still think Kyler Murray is going to Arizona myself. But that's just me.
Yeah, I don't know. I just can't buy the hype. I don't know. We'll see.
All
I
right.
could be wrong.
You could be right too. But all right, Coach. Hey, vote for Coach,
Okay.
and hey, don't forget to hit that like, Coach. You
Oh,
got to
yeah.
do this. Coach, we're getting down here because we're going to start with the weekly meeting. But listen, Coach, you got to scream out with me. I'm going to count 3, 2, 1. Give me some holla. Are you ready?
I'm
3,
ready.
2, 1.
Niners!
See you in a few, fam.
Yes, One of these days I'll